Hi everyone, it's Nathara, and today I'm going to be going over the Encore Scene Pack Forced Adventure. And just a quick reminder, you only get what's listed in the pack contents down here. You do not get the display outfit they used. So today I'm going to be going over the Chat Bubble Bathing Duck, the Still Pose Hazy Words, the Scene Silent Forest, and of course the Dynamic Pose Errant Elf. So here's the scene as a whole. It is a rather small little forest scene, but definitely it is super spooky looking. I love all the fog and the mist and the colors and these gnarled trees right here. It's great. It does give off a rather blue vibe that is pretty easy to change with all the filters and color retouch settings, so I do like that as well. But this is pretty much it with the scene. It's just these gnarled trees. Let me move her up as well so you can kind of see what it looks like towards the back. And then let's zoom in a little bit. So as you can see, kind of like the mist moves away, so it's not like you can actually get in there with the mist. As you get closer to the items, they do kind of like demystify, I guess. And about right here, well, no, that one's a picture too. But this one looks like a 3D asset, and so do these over here, but this one's a picture, and then everything beyond these two right here are pictures as well. Well, no, it's kind of odd, I guess. Some are pictures, it's like a mix of pictures and 3D assets. I think even the stones in the very back are 3D assets, but this scene isn't heavy at all, so it never makes my computer slow down or breathe heavy whenever it's going. There is a few little patches of grass, but again, it's not too much. Also, some of the branches like wiggle really weirdly because they are just pictures next to 3D assets. This is like I said, it's one of those combo scenes where they scattered both around to really give a weird vibe, but this jiggly branch always makes me giggle a little bit. And here's your posable area. So it is a bit smaller than some of the scenes, but like I said, there isn't too much going on with this scene anyway, so you're pretty much just looking at posing right here in the central area. I do have her in a floating kind of posture right now, but the sink is like the standard to the knees sink, and you can't go up quite high above the scene. Have just kind of like the sky part be your background. It is kind of like an ombre of grays, which is nice. The sky is completely just that. It's an ombre of grays, and I think there's a few clouds spattered around. That's what this molted color is. But besides that, the sky is very muted. But if that is what you're looking for, then that is great. Here is the lighting from the front, the lighting from the right, the lighting from the back, super, super dark, and the lighting from the left. And here's the lighting on the darkest and palest shade. Looks quite good on both of them. I have no complaints. The only thing you need to worry about, clearly, because this is a darker scene, is the filters and everything. And even this scene has a lot of mist and fog on it. So even if you were to pump up the halo on this one, you could quickly blow out the paler dolls, and you'd have to like bring that down to combat it. And conversely, if you put on like, one of the darker filters, you can quickly lose the details of your darker doll, but again, that can be a bonus as well if you're trying to show off makeup looks. And here's our half-length pose, the Hazy Words. It's not bad. There's nothing with the feet. It's just built for right here. I've used it to have her kind of leaning on a banister before, kind of looking out of a window. Of course, I changed the expression out to complement whatever she might be or whatever I'm portraying she's feeling. But this one is pretty good pose-wise. And with a handheld, if you want to drop that lower hand, you can. With a two handheld, this one gives nothing at all. And with a right hand held, I do like this one as well. Again, I have her usually seated on a banister, and for this one I'd put on like a happy face. And let me see if I can just show you really quick. Kind of like this, if that makes sense. I've also used it at a kiosk, like with a fit where she was trying to sell something. Yeah, I don't know. That's just how I've used it. I don't think I've really used it too much beyond this. And here it is with focus on. And as for the dynamic pose, I'm going to try and follow her with the camera. I only use it for this part right here, and then I use it for that pose right there where she cocks her head. I don't use this dynamic pose for anything else because there's just not much to it, especially because I can find those kind of ballerina moves in like a dozen of other dynamic poses. And here's our expression for Hazy Words. It is just a, oops, it is just a look down, so rather boring. And here's Errant Elf's expression. Again, the dynamic pose is pretty short, so the expression list is pretty short as well. I don't think I've ever used an expression from this one specifically. She does look around a lot and she opens her mouth, but it's just not very expressive, I guess. There's no emotions that really come across inside of it that I can't get with a still pose and or still expressions, because still expressions are so much easier to manage than dynamic expressions when you're just trying to get a photo. All right, and now I'm going to click through the filters so you can see how you might be able to change the ambiance of this scene. And as for our retouch settings, you can make it even spookier than it normally is. And for our halo, as you would guess, that back part gets super, super bright. And of course, those butterflies really, really come to like super glowing levels whenever you mess with it too much. And your DOF. And your white balance, which is probably my favorite part of using this scene because of how much color it takes on when you're in here. I really, really like it. Oh, that hurts my eyes. Oh wow, that's cool. It's like stuck halfway between the green and the yellow. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That hurt my eyes too. Pew! And our saturation. And our contrast, which makes it oppressively dark. And then if you pair that with the vignette, you can get just like the glowing in the back. As for hotspots, I've personally never found any that just make you glow. If you run into it, this is a very dark scene to begin with. And you can't go any further back than this right here. And as for posing, it is still just pretty much right here in this area. You can go off, but I mean, the scenery doesn't really change. There's no extra 3D assets in here that you can kind of like use to your photo taking advantage. It is just a bunch of gnarled trees and little grass patches, and of course the dirt on the ground. So this is what you're looking at right here is pretty much what you're going to get. So if you don't like this spooky forest, definitely stay away from this scene pack. It does remind me of Alice in Wonderland. I've actually used it for those types of fits before, and of course, like spooky monster girl fits, I've used it for that, but that's pretty much the limit to what I've used it for. And here's our chat bubble bathing duck. It is just a little watery little chat bubble with a duck poking out because it's supposed to be taking a bath. I can't, it's too small for me to actually see that, but I can get the gist of it, you know? It is cute, it's just not one that I would use on a normal basis. I'm not that big of a duck person. But that is everything I have for the Encore Pack Forest Adventure. I do hope you found this helpful and useful in deciding if you would like to add it to our collection or not. And as always, I will talk to you later. Bye bye.